So an Indian customer wants to purchase your explosion-proof product and now is asking for PESO certification from you. What now? What has to be done to obtain the certification? How long does it take and how much will it cost you? I will answer all these questions in this video. The good news is the certification process consists of only one step: submitting documentation. By the way, one little side note. This Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization, PESO approval, is often also called the Chief Controller of Explosives, aka CCoE approval, as this is the title of the official with the actual approval authority. Since 2010, however, it is preferred to take the abbreviation of the actual authority, PESO, for the certification as well. Alright, so what is PESO? It is the Indian equivalent of your ATEX or IECEx certification. As a pure document verification without any product testing or factory inspections, it has an extremely simple process. Only documents need to be submitted. However, this step should not be underestimated. The total number of documents to be submitted can easily reach 100 pages or more. Before I list the exact list of documents, let me first summarize some important application conditions, because these conditions already give you a good indication which documentation might be required. The first condition is you must have valid ATEX or IECEx certification documentation. Let me explain in more detail. In India, X-protected products or equipment must be inspected on-site and in person by the aforementioned Chief Controller of Explosives. However, since inspections abroad are neither efficient in terms of time nor cost, a valid ATEX or IECEx certification is required instead, along with up-to-date test reports and factory audit reports. Without these reports, the application will be rejected. This means that, first of all, you should ensure that the ATEX or IECEx documentation for your product is complete and up-to-date. Please also make sure that the product title on the certificate and test report match your internal documentation. Similarly, this means that you cannot apply for PESO if you cannot be certified according to ATEX or IECEx in the first place. In such a case, you must explain these regulations to your customer, and he should then clarify with the local Indian authorities whether or not he can simply import the product. In our experience, there should be no difficulties here. Now, the validity of the PESO certificate that will hopefully result from the application also depends largely on the validity of the corresponding existing ATEX or IECEx certificates. However, the maximum validity can be 5 years. Another important requirement for PESO certification is the qualified representative in India. As in the other Indian certifications, a local Indian representative, called the Authorized Indian Representative, AIR in short, must act as an applicant on behalf of the manufacturer. The difference to the other Indian certifications, however, is that in this case, the representative must have sound technical qualifications. Not just anyone can be your local representative. He or she must have the technical qualifications to understand your product, for example by being an engineer, and also have proven experience with it, as demonstrated, for example, through training certificates issued by you as the manufacturer. You must also have a written contract, e.g. for maintenance and similar services, with this local representative. And this contract must be valid for as long as you want the PESO certificate to be valid, which in most cases in our experience will be 5 years. Now, another special feature that only exists in PESO certification is that you must provide sufficient proof of the order from India. This order documentation must show the customer and the place of use. Now, if you don't sell directly to an Indian company, but for example supply a part within Europe for a machine that is to go to India only in the next step, then you must obtain and present both of these orders, that of your direct customer in Europe as well as his order from the Indian customer. Now, don't worry, the prices are not what is relevant here and they do not need to be shown. However, the Indian buyer as well as the place of use must be indicated in any case. Okay, in addition to these 3 sets of documents, i.e. the complete certification documentation according to ATEX or IECEx, the qualification and contractual authorization of the Indian representative, as well as the proof of the order from India, more documents of the following 5 categories must also be submitted. 1. Product documentation. Now, this can be technical marketing brochures or specially written product descriptions. But function and operation of the product must be clearly explained. In fact, drawings and BOMs are also quite often required. 2. QMS documentation. You must demonstrate that you have a functioning quality management system in your production. This includes a summary of your documentation, a list of machines, as well as an introduction of the quality personnel and their position within the company structure. Thirdly, of course, company licenses of both the factory, the certificate holder if different from the factory, and the representative must be submitted. The 4th category is other commercial information besides the actual order. In addition to the actual order, you need to submit sales figures, references, as well as expected sales figures in India. Lastly, there are some formal letters that you need to address to PESO. Usually, these are explanations of the other documentation. For example, more detailed information on the product or authorizations for the local representative. But in most cases, these documents do not require more than 1 to 2 pages per document. Alright, so as you can see, the application alone must already be well prepared and can take several months, depending on the initial situation. Once you have submitted it, the authorities may still ask you some questions for clarification. And these questions, or answers to these questions, in turn can lead to further questions, so that this entire clarification process might take another 2 to 4 weeks. And once all these questions have been clarified, it will take roughly another 4 weeks until you receive the PESO certificate. So theoretically, it is possible to get the certification in about 2 months. But realistically speaking, you should aim for something more closely around 3 to 6 months. However, once you receive the certificate, you can immediately start selling in India. There is no product marking in PESO. The only next task is then to renew the certificate after it expires. For the renewal, of course, you need to update the documentation, such as your ATEX or IECEx certification. But otherwise, the follow-up certification should be quite straightforward. Okay, now let's take a brief look at the costs. Of course, you save a lot of money by dispensing with testing and auditing. However, the extensive document review is not entirely cheap, so you should still expect to pay roughly $6,000 to $10,000 US. Sometimes, however, it is possible to combine several IECEx or ATEX certifications in one PESO certification application. So you may be able to save some costs through bundling. Okay, I hope I was able to answer most of your questions about PESO certification with these explanations. If anything was unclear or you would like to have more information, you can of course contact us at any time. We look forward to hearing from you. Until then, take good care and see you next time.